Today we're talking about area of circles. When we're talking about area, we're talking about the amount of space that something can cover. Or in the case of a circle, it's the area of space inside the circle. So everything inside the circle is the area of the circle, whereas circumference is the length of the line that makes the edge of the circle. So now we're talking about the amount of space this circle could cover if we cut it out and put it down on something. So we have a formula for the area of a circle. It uses the radius, and area equals pi times the radius squared. Okay? Pi times the radius squared. Now let's remember what squared is. Squared is not times 2. Squared for radius would be radius times radius. So when we break down this formula, area equals pi times radius squared, what we're actually saying is area equals pi times radius times radius. Okay? When you're solving the formula, you're going to want to square the radius first and then take it times 3.14, or take pi times radius times radius. Let's look at an example. So if a radius is 5 centimeters, the radius times 2 would be 10 centimeters, and that would give you your diameter, not radius squared. So you want to multiply radius times radius, or 5 times 5 in this case. Here's our first example. Here's a circle with a radius from the center to the edge of the circle of 4 inches. Remember, radius is from the center to the edge. Diameter goes all the way across. The first thing you're going to want to do is write down the formula. That's this part right here. Next, you're going to fill in the formula with the numbers that you know. So here's where they filled in the first number with the radius of 4. And then they solved that 4 squared, or 4 times 4 is 16. And then they filled in pi here. Okay? And then finally they multiply 3.14 times 16 to get 50.24 inches squared. Now the inches squared part is because when we multiply the radius, 4 inches times 4 inches, this would be 4 squared inches squared. So you see how you're taking 4 times 4? It gives you 4 squared. If we take inches times inches, it gives us inches squared. So when we actually multiply this out, it ends up being 16 inches squared. That's where the inches squared comes from, or the squared part in the area label. Here's example 2. We have a can of tuna. It's 10 centimeters from one side to the other. So first of all, we're given the diameter. If we're given the diameter, we need to find out what the radius is because our formula uses radius squared. So the radius is half of the diameter, which means that our radius is 5 centimeters. So one of the first things you want to do when you're solving a formula is write down r equals 5 centimeters. Okay? Then we're going to come over and fill in our formula like they've done over here, pi r squared, and then they filled it in with pi times 5 squared, and then 3.14 times 25 for 78.5 centimeters squared. Now, let's do an actual example. Here's a circle with a diameter of 12 centimeters. That means we have to cut the diameter in half to find our radius. So radius equals 6 centimeters. And what you're going to need to do on all your problems is put in the formula first. Area equals pi r squared. Then you're going to fill in your formula. You could do this in either 1 step or 2 steps. That is up to you. So I am going to do area equals 3.14 times 6 squared. Okay? That will be area is 3.14 times 36. All right, so then we're going to have to find out what 3.14 times 36 is. And 3.14 times 36, using my calculator, is 113.04 centimeters squared, because we're taking centimeters times centimeters. When we square that, 6 centimeters, 6 times 6 is 36, and centimeters times centimeters is centimeters squared. And you will be able to use a calculator on these. So area equals 113.04 centimeters squared for this circle. Number 2. 7 inches is our radius. So now we know that r equals 7 inches. Put down our formula, pi r squared. Area equals pi times 7 squared. Okay, and 7 squared is 49. So area equals 3.14 times 49. Now remember that you're not rounding anything unless it actually tells you to round, and your problems or your worksheets will tell you what to use as pi. So when you're done with that answer, don't round it unless you've been told to round to a specific place value. So 3.14 times 49 here is 153.86 inches square. I want you to start thinking about why it might be important to be able to calculate the area of a circle. What are some things in real life that we might need to do to find out how much area is being covered by a circle? And I think one of the things that you might think about is, for example, if you needed to know how much area a sprinkler head is going to cover. Let's say you've got a sprinkler and it goes around in a circle, and you need to find out how much area is being covered there so that you can say, okay, I've got this many square feet of lawn that's being watered. How long do I need to water it for according to the guidelines, okay, for your grass? All right, let's look at the next one. 3.5 yards. Yes, there may be decimals involved. So our radius here is 3.5 yards. Area equals pi r squared. And yes, you must write down the formula every time. It's one of the things that you'll be doing in algebra also, is writing things down, or geometry, writing the formula down every time. Okay, so area is going to be pi times 3.5 squared. All right. It really doesn't matter if you put that squared sign on the inside or the outside. It's going to get done first because it's an exponent. So area equals 3.14, and then 3.5 squared is going to be 12.25. Okay, and then we're going to take that 12.25 times 3.14 to get our final answer. So here the area equals 38.465 yards square. We're going to be doing a worksheet on this tomorrow, so if you need to look over this 1 or 2 more times to get your formula down, that would be great, and we will do some work on this tomorrow.